The purpose of this webinar is to streamline opportunities to help reduce food waste, feed our hungry, and implement composting to our soil for the production of food of higher nutritional value. So before I proceed forward to our next speakers, I would like to thank the Federated Conservationists of Westchester County for their continued support of our youth movement within climate activism, the Westchester County Director of Energy Conservation and Sustainability, Peter McCartt, for assistance as well. Also, County Executive George Latimer and County Legislator Nancy Barr, who serves as the chair of our County Board of Legislators Environment and Health Committee. We have to realize, it's something that Peter McCartt always mentions, reminds me that elections have consequences. If you look at what's happening nationally, the president just announced that he's withdrawing from the World Health Organization. So it's really important that we have people locally that support us. And people like County Executive George Latimer and County Legislator Barr make our work in the environmental movement so much easier. Also, thank you to ASAP Scraps Composting, the Westchester County Harvest, and Hope Community Services for giving us an opportunity to share your great work and hope and support you with streamlining your resources to our youth population for some real long-term activism. Without, further waiting, I'll present our first speaker, Peter McCartt, who is the Westchester County Government's Director of Energy Conservation and Sustainability. I guess the floor is yours, Peter.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Anne, of course, and all the board members and everybody at FCWC. Obviously, I'm a big supporter and a big fan of your organization. We really couldn't do a lot of the things we do here in the county without you all, but I appreciate that very much. Paul, you did steal my line about the elections have consequences, but that's all right. I'm getting through to the youth, and it really does make a difference, guys. We're very fortunate to have the County Executive Latimer in the position that he's in, as well as the Board of Legislators that we have, including people like Nancy Barr and the rest of them. They're very, very, very influential and very important. Makes my job that much easier when I have some crazy tree hugging kind of initiative that I want to get pushed through. It's so much easier when there's people like-minded like Nancy Barr and the rest of the group down there. One of the things we always talk about, I believe we're going to talk about today, is we're going to talk about food scrap recycling and composting. But before we get to that, we want to take the food that is good and utilize that. And we're fortunate here in Westchester that we have a lot of people that think like we do. We are major supporters financially and otherwise of Feeding Westchester, as well as the community food pantries. We just had a press conference where we are giving $3 million of money to combat food insecurity. Part of that is to create a food security coordinator. Is going to be one of the employees here at the county, and keep an updated database of food programs. So $3 million is really a big help. That's in addition to what all the money we've always given before. So taking that food, and it's got so much value. Before we start trucking it around and composting and doing all the other good things we have with it, we need to capture it. I'm going to be very quick here, guys. We do have 3 components of our food scrap recycling on a countywide basis. The first of which we had a press event this past winter before the crud hit us, and that was in February. We announced that we are going to be doing the transportation and disposal of all the food scraps that are being collected by the municipalities. There's like 21 municipalities that have got volunteer food scrap programs. We are going to be collecting that, and not personally, but us, but we are contracting to one contractor that is going to be collecting all of that. They're going to take it to their aggregated it up and put it into a truck that we are going to buy for them that is sealed and proper, and dispose of it that way. Eventually, part 3, I'm going to skip part 2 to get to part 3. Part 3 is what we're currently in the phase of, is building some sort of biodigestion facility here in Westchester. We don't really have anything like that here. We see possibly 2 or 3 large-scale facilities. We have You know, I mean, it's amazing how many tons and tons of food get wasted. At this point, you know, as you know, we don't landfill anything here in Westchester. We do have a waste to energy facility in Peekskill that we utilize. And if we could take out that food scrap, it's going to make that burn a lot more efficient, a lot better. And there's so much value in that food scrap. So we want to collect that. So that's the third component. I think some of the people here have been to or know about the Quantum facility up in Connecticut. That to us, to me at least, I know Nancy Barr has been there. I know Ann Jaffe Holmes has been there. That's kind of the Cadillac, if you will, of the very large scale industrial biodigestion. And we see that as an ultimate goal. Currently, right now, we're searching for the site and doing some of our due diligence. And that's the long-term plan, plan 3. Plan 2 is, so we got we're picking up the food scraps, right? We're aggregating that. It's gonna be a net cost. So part of the problem with the volunteer program is that it costs money to the municipalities over and above what they're paying for their tipping fees. And we are going to absorb that for the municipalities that are in the refuse disposal district. So that's just to be clear. There's the communities that are up in the far northeast corner of Westchester, the Bedford, Katona, that corner up there, Lewisboro. They are not a part of the refuse disposal district. They are picking up individual private contractors. So all the others are what we call the district number 1. So the second part of it is we're building, and it's in design phase. I need to get an update on it. It's been a couple weeks since I've had an update on where we are in the process, but this is going to be in Valhalla, across the street from where we have the county jail. We call it the Grasslands. That's a historical name for it. And there's the HMRF there, the Household Material Recovery Facility is there. And if you've ever been there, you know what it's like. And we are going to have a very large scale food scrap composting facility there. And this is not like your backyard composting. This is on a fairly large scale, nothing like Quantum, like I was just mentioning. But this will be, we're calling it a compost education center. So this is an opportunity for municipalities to kind of develop this. This will be a municipal size facility. So municipalities could create this kind of facility on their own. It might be an institution, some of the colleges. It could be, you know, businesses, the Regenerons, or, you know, there's other applications for this, you know, in addition to individual residents can go to this. And that's going to be, we're very excited about that. That's going to be something nobody else is doing anything like that. And like, again, that's going to be at the HMRF. So those are the 3 major components of our food scrap recycling program. And those that are in the know, it's just a fantastic, you know, initiatives that the county's doing. And again, we couldn't get this done if we didn't have somebody like George Latimer in office, as well as people like Nancy Barr and her cohorts there on the 8th floor. So that's all. And I'll be around here for the whole time. I'm looking forward to you know, meeting. I see a lot of the older faces that are all good friends of mine, and then I see a lot of new faces that I've become to know over the past year or 2 because of Paul. For the most part, and it's good to see some more of those faces, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you very much for everything you guys are doing. Thank you.
Got it. So, all right, so our next speaker, and I'm happy that she joined us. We're joined by the Honorable Mayor of Mount Vernon, New York, Sean Patterson Howard. So, Mayor Patterson Howard, I don't know if you want to say a couple of words and talk about the importance of, you know, addressing food insecurity throughout Westchester County. We're just really happy to have you here, Madam Mayor.
Well, I am very happy to be here. You know, prior to becoming mayor, I've worked in human services and social services here in Westchester for almost 30 years. And for the past 12 years as CEO of the YMCA, we ran food insecurity programs. We were the Hunger Heroes for the, well, it was Feeding the Food Bank of Westchester, which is now Feeding Westchester. Through the Y, I ran after-school feeding programs, senior feeding programs. We did meal delivery programs. We helped to develop with Greyston and Groundworks, about 35 different community gardens in Yonkers. We worked with farmers markets, and we did nutrition programs. And so food insecurity is something that is very near and dear to my heart. It's an area that we've worked on, and here in Mount Vernon, we continue to expand our food insecurity elimination, I would say, programs. And I just actually spoke with Groundworks and Grayston this morning about them coming in and help us to do a more rigorous community gardening program here in Mount Vernon, and just really kind of kickstart the next level of work that we're going to do around food insecurity. We can bring in food, but if we help people learn how to plant and grow and harvest their own food, even in an urban environment, then we'll be doing really well. And it also goes to dealing not with just food insecurity, but making sure that people have access to better foods, because in urban communities, and especially communities of color, we are food deserts. And being food deserts, we end up suffering from a lot of high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, and things of that nature, which all add to our reduced life expectancy. And so food insecurity and ensuring that we have access to healthy foods is something that I'm very, very committed to. And so I thank you for the work that you're doing around this issue, and I look to be a real partner in helping you to advance this work. So thank you for inviting me. I didn't expect to speak. I was told you don't have to say anything. So when he said our name, I was like, oh. But it came from the heart of my work.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We're really happy to have you here. So our next speaker, I guess it's going to be from ASAP Scraps Composting. It's a group of high school students named Jonathan Marcuse, Sonia Finkenberg, and Owen Robertson, who have created a food recycling and compost pickup program. So I guess I'll give the floor to Jonathan so you guys can talk about your great work.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'm just going to share my screen and then we'll get started. Can you see the presentation? All right, great.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, Owen, take it away.
All right. Hello, guys. We are ASAP Scraps, a volunteer, non-for-profit food scrap recycling program. And if you want, you can go to the next slide now. Yeah, sweet. All right, so more detail. So ASAP Scraps, as I said, we're a compost pickup service. And essentially what we do is we collect your compost at your door and we deliver it to the recycling center in Mamaroneck, very similar to a trash pickup service. We collect your compost once a week, which saves you the hassle and tediousness of composting. As you know, what comes along with composting is that it's frankly quite smelly and can be annoying to take it to the recycling center, which can deter people from composting. And so we set up this service to help promote it in the area. And we are also a student initiative, and we are meant to promote the community's existing composting infrastructure. Yeah, next slide. All right, so our mission, ASAP was created to help bring attention to the large amount of food that makes its way into landfills, which then produce greenhouse gases and also lead to loss of nutrients that were in the food and should have gone back into the soil, but then ended up in landfills. And we also allow our customers to greatly reduce their environmental impact while staying at home from the ease of their home. Because Mamaroneck doesn't have any, they don't pick up food scraps, although other towns do, we created ASAP Scraps to show the village of Mamaroneck that there is enough interest to invest in a scheduled pickup service ran by municipalities, which will then lead to composting on a wider scale and hopefully in larger areas across the country even.
Right, thanks, Owen. So I was going to tell you about each one of us that are volunteers with ASAP Scraps. So we are all Right Next students, and starting with Daniel Ritchie, he's the one who actually came up with the idea in the first place to pick up compost. So like personally, I just composted in my backyard, but Daniel used the municipality to drop off his compost. So he saw that there was definitely a need for people to just have the ability to drop it off, and it is tedious and it takes a decent amount of time out of your day. So he came up with a great idea to just bring compost over. So he is currently studying environmental engineering at SUNY ESF, but he still is a member of ASAP Scraps, and we keep him updated with any major events that occur. John Marcuse, he is CEO of our company. He pretty much oversees all projects and works closely with Dylan Spencer, who wasn't able to make it today, but they work together to do most of the management. He works with finances, which includes management of invoices, volunteer expenses, and donations. And he's also heavily involved in communications with customers and other collaborators to help promote the sustainability and expansion of ASAP Scraps. So for me and Owen work really closely. We are primarily responsible for communications through like social networking and advertisement. So just to get more customers and try to expand our business through more subscribers. And along with that, I'm primarily the pickup. I do most of the pickups, and when I'm unable to, Owen picks up my slack. And lastly is Dylan. He works really closely with Jonathan and is primarily responsible for the technological architecture by which the organization operates. For example, Squarespace is what our website is, and he worked with coding, and he basically made him and Jonathan both made our system pretty much completely online. So when a customer puts in their information, we don't have to do any like tedious re-inputting their information again. So he focuses most of his attention on the proposition and implementation of frameworks which promote organizational stability and directional sustainability. So our history. Our idea emerged in May 2019, but before we could start our pickups, there was a decent amount of work we had to get done beforehand. We reached out to town officials like Robert and Janito, who were a really great resource to us. We went to a town meeting to propose our idea, and once our idea was approved, we were able to expand our client base. So what we did was hand out flyers, reached out to friends, we even went door to door, and we also were mentioned in the Village of Mamaroneck weekly newsletters, and we created an Instagram page and a Facebook page. But the most effective way of expanding was definitely going to door. It definitely took the most amount of time, but it was really effective. We started out with only 6 customers, but now we've grown to nearly 70 customers. And in the 70, we also have a preschool that also composts through ASAP Scraps. We developed asapscraps.org. So at first we used Google Sites, but we switched to Squarespace, which does cost a fee. And this is where we can accept payments, and people can have a monthly subscription through this website. Our site is completely automated, so all information about clients will generate into organized spreadsheets for our purposes. Currently, we are incorporated as a not-for-profit, but we just recently filled out a 501c3, which will be beneficial. For example, we can get tax breaks in the future if we get approved. And this all was a really long process, but we hope that it will be a resource for future people that want to expand ASAP Scraps in other communities. Want to go to the next slide? Oh, perfect. Oh no.
Oh, back again.
Yeah. Sorry. And then these are just some pictures. So the first picture is me holding a pumpkin. There's something to just be aware of is there are fluctuations in the amount of food scraps depending on the month. For example, in November, my truck was completely filled with pumpkins, and just have to be aware that if you're taking like an SUV, you may have to take 2 cars. So just and during this pandemic, many people are eating at home. For example, like us students, we would usually have lunch at school, but now we're at home and eating full time there. So we've recently had more food scraps and had to purchase a couple more bins to help with that. The second picture is just us dumping out some smelly compost. Honestly, usually compost is not that smelly. I think it kind of has a bad rap. But once it starts decaying, it definitely does develop an odor. But once you put a lid on it, it's really no big deal. Just make sure it's airtight and it's no problem at all. And then the last picture is just us dumping out the compost at the recycling center. This for me is the most rewarding part of being part of ASAP Scraps, just because we can see the real impact that we have on our community. Even like the workers, like such as Robert, who mainly deals with compost, he gets really excited when we drive in, just because he also feels this, like it's really exciting when we're able to drop it all off. And it's just a really happy moment for us, and it just seals off what we did for the day. Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Sonia. Our current initiative, as you know, is in the Village of Mamaroneck. It's our initial chapter, and we hope to expand it to new towns in the future. So currently we have about 66, 68 subscribers signed up. And we do kind of a rough estimate of how much compost we've picked up over the past year. And we estimate about 12,000 gallons of compost. And just to give you some perspective on that, it's about 4 concrete mixer trucks, 63 hot tubs, or 282 bathtubs. We use the site to, do that, and we keep this on our website just to show like, oh, this is our impact. So this is, on the left is a map of all the different stops that we visit, and then on the right is an optimized route that we use, and we generate this and we give it to our drivers. And we used to do the routing manually. And when we started doing it through a computer software, we went from, we took a 3-hour pickup and made it, just a little over 2 hours, like 2 hours and 15 minutes. So it really, really shortened how long it took to visit all these households. So as I mentioned, 12,000 gallons, but we charge a fee of $10 a month, and that includes, 4 pickups a month per household. So we've raised about $5,000 since we've started. Incorporated as not-for-profit, and we just recently filed for 501c3, as Sonia said. So our goal is to, develop some new chapters, get more volunteers, and really allow people to take what we have and get them started in other towns in Westchester, because we believe, this is too good to just be in the Village of Mamaroneck. So, we want to promote composting, of food that is no longer edible, in all of Westchester and anywhere we can. So, I mean, if you would like to be a volunteer, if you're a student, and you would like to, start an initiative in your town and you don't live in the Village of Mamaroneck, there are a few requirements that we need to start that initiative. But after that, we offer a lot of resources to make it as easy as possible. First thing, perhaps the most important thing, is you need a recycling center that accepts food scraps that you can easily access, the public has easy access to at some day of the week that would work for you as a volunteer and the customers as well. Then we would need 1 volunteer to be a district manager per new zone that we expand to. And if we expand to new areas in Westchester, 1 zone is just 1 zip code. So per zip code, there'd be 1 volunteer who's got 1 job, but it's a big responsibility to make sure that no matter what, there's always a driver to cover all the houses each week in that zone. Then, of course, we need drivers, super important. We need, a couple that are super dedicated, like here in the Village of Mamaroneck, we have Sonia and Owen, super dedicated, do it almost every week. But then you also want a couple other volunteers so you can fall back on. So we have some other people who, once in a while, maybe every other month, will do pickup when one of us can't do it ourselves. Another requirement is that these driver volunteers use their own vehicles and their own car insurance, and ASAP Scraps is not liable in the unlikely case of an accident. And then in these new zones, before we, pilot a new chapter of ASAP Scraps and start doing pickups in that zone, we would want probably around 20 signups already. So to do that, if you want to volunteer in your area and get a bunch of people to fill out a demonstrated interest form on our website, once we reach 20 within that zip code, we can then, say, okay, this zone is now open for purchase of the compost pickup subscription. and we'll go from there. And if you're interested in volunteering, you'll get hours for your work and any expenses like your gas will pay for, but there's no other compensation beyond that because we are not for profit and completely run by volunteers. Okay, so basically from us, what these volunteers will get is our platform, our model does everything pretty much automated. So, we advertise and we just direct people towards our website, and there's a product and they'll get it for, their zone. The customer just logs on, they make an account, they sign up, they purchase a product that is the compost pickup for whatever their zip code is. And then that generates a spreadsheet of everyone who signed up on the subscription, optimizes the route, and then sends a CSV file to whoever would be that district manager for that zone. So really all you'd have to do is just advertise and pick up compost. That's all there would be. And then we can, easily pay you back for expenses online through like into your bank account or through Venmo. Okay.
All right, so for the bigger picture, and asking ourselves, how does ASAP fit into the bigger picture? So currently, we're having really a soil crisis with artificial fertilizers, which are causing the food to have less nutrition because the nutrients that are absorbed into the plants and then into the fruits and vegetables are then being carted across the country, where they are then being either consumed or thrown out in landfills, and these nutrients can no longer be used by the plant, obviously, because they're no longer there. So they then use fertilizers. However, that doesn't supplement as well as decomposing material would and compost would. So therefore, the food is becoming less nutritious, and therefore applying compost to areas where the soil has been depleted is much better than just giving it vitamins and fertilizers. And ASAP also hopes to promote composting in other areas through our efforts. As stated previously, we are looking to establish chapters in other towns and areas. So if you're interested, please let us know. We would love to have you in our team, and it'd be great to work with you.
Join us.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for,
really thank you for your time.
listening.
So nice you were able to listen to us. And if you're interested in volunteering, please reach out to us. It'd be awesome.
Great job.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jonathan, Sonia, and Owen. All right. So our next presenter is going to be the Westchester County Harvest. We have Missy Palmisciano, the president, and also Alex Tan, a student volunteer with the organization. So I guess, Missy, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and thank you for having me. And I learned a lot about composting just now that I did not know. So I'm Missy Palmisciano. I am president and founder of County Harvest. We're a nonprofit food rescue organization here in Westchester County. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we got started first. And so in 2009, I was volunteering at the elementary school where my kids went at the time, and we didn't have a cafeteria. So lunch was brought in from local businesses, and parents were asked to volunteer to serve the lunch. And in that particular year, I was volunteering to serve Pasta Fridays. And at the end of the lunch hour, there was a huge tray of untouched pasta with butter and another big tray of untouched turkey meatballs with sauce that they were going to throw in the garbage and not use. So I called a soup kitchen that I had done some volunteering with in the past in Mount Vernon, Community Service Associates, and asked if they would be interested in having the food, and they were thrilled. So I brought it over there, and I did that again the following week, and they really loved the prepared food. So the week after that, I also brought them the chicken fingers on Wednesdays, and other parents who were volunteering at the school started helping out and bringing them there as well. And then I asked CSA, what else can you use? And they had told me at the time that the person who was bringing them bagels for their breakfast program got sick and couldn't do it anymore, and they really needed the bagels. So I thought, oh, that can't be that tough. And I went to our local bagel place and asked if they would save bagels for me. And I started picking them up every morning and bringing them over to CSA. And after the third day, they told me they had way too many bagels. And they told me I should go down the block to the Mount Vernon Armory, that they had a senior program there and they could probably use the bagels. So I brought them the bagels the next 2 days. And then they told me, we have way too many bagels now. Why don't you try the Salvation Army? And I started bringing bagels to the Salvation Army. And now I had a whole route going for the week. So I went back to CSA and said, okay, so you don't need any more bagels, but what else do you need? And they really liked the prepared food. That was something that really worked for them. So I went to Giuliano's Caterers in New Rochelle and asked if they would start saving the food for us. And he was really, really nice about it and said, sure, we'll save the food. And what are we going to put them in? And I said, I'll bring you some trays. I'll get you some trays. And so then I started supplying them with the aluminum tins and lids and bringing all their leftovers from all their events and catered events and stuff over to CSA. And not long after that, this has only been going on about a month, a little while after that, Fairway opened in Pelham in the spring. And I was luckily, I was invited to go and meet and do a walkthrough with the manager, and was able to ask them early on if we could start picking up the excess food from them. So we were picking up 7 days a week from Fairway right away, and I needed more volunteers, and that's really how we got started, and it took off from there. So now we're 10, almost 11 years later. We pick up from about 36 different food donors. We deliver to about 35 or 40 different agencies. We have had about 500 volunteers go through our system, and we have maybe 100 or so, 80 to 100 or so who volunteer with us regularly each month. We are all volunteer. We don't have an office, a warehouse, or any paid staff. And we've rescued over 5.5 million pounds of food to date. So we're always looking for more volunteers. You can visit us at our website, countyharvest.org, and our social media is on there too. But we have a lot of student volunteers, some that drive and some that don't, some that go with their parents. People can sign up to do a run. A food rescue run is basically a set in our schedule. It's a pickup from one food donor and you immediately drop it off at one agency. And that could be done 7 days a week. You can volunteer once in a while when it's convenient for you. You can volunteer every week for the same run. It's really whatever works for your schedule, but that's us in a nutshell. Thank you.
Okay. So, all right. So our next speaker we'll introduce is going to be Hope Community Services. We have Walt Ritz, the executive director, also with Delvy Abreu, who is a student volunteer, and also
excuse me, Paul.
Oh.
So sorry.
Oh yeah.
Alex was going to talk about being a volunteer. County Harvest.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's okay.
Oh, no worries.
No
Sorry, I'm sorry, Alex, my bad.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah. So I'm Alex Tan. I'm a student volunteer. I'm a student at MHS, and I volunteer with County Harvest usually about twice a week. And what I do is, since I'm not old enough to drive the van, I help volunteers with the manual labor aspect of the food pickup. So we drive over to major food distribution areas with food that we collect from major producers such as Trader Joe's or other local supermarkets. And what we do is we bring the food to food distribution centers, like I mentioned, or other food bank areas like Hope Community Services in New Rochelle. So although it's obviously manual labor, it's honestly quite easy, and it's really a great way to get involved in something, because you can easily see how much of a difference you're making. Because even though it's it only takes about 2 hours of your time if you live far away, you can really see how much of an impact you're making with all the food that you bring. Because honestly, sometimes, although there isn't much, we can fill entire carfuls on a pretty decent day. But on a good day, we fill the entire van, because we have volunteer vans. We can fill the entire van with food. And it's kind of amazing just to see how much food you're saving in just 2 hours of your time, and how much of an impact that makes for other people who aren't as fortunate. So yeah, that's I guess.
Oh, got it. My apologies. All right, so sounds good. Thank you. My apologies about that, Alex and Missy. So I guess our next, we'll go to our next speaker, our next presenter, which is Hope Community Services. We have Walt Ritz, who is the executive director, along with Delvy Abreu, who is a student volunteer, and Karen Kaur, who is an adult volunteer. So I guess the floor is all yours for Hope Community Services.
Hi, everyone. My name is Walt Ritz. I'm the executive director for Hope. I just want to say a couple things before I begin. One, I do want to give a shout out to Missy and her team at County Harvest. We are one of the recipients of the food that she rescues, and it does make a significant impact on our ability to reach the community. So thank you for that. And also what Missy didn't mention too is she's helped us immensely with a new initiative that we've done recently, which is a mobile pantry. So we've identified a community that was too far from us, so we went out to them. It's a brand new thing for us. They've been with us since the beginning of that. So thank you, Missy, and your team for doing that. And Alex, thank you also for getting the food out to Hope. What I want to do today is talk a little bit about Hope Community Services and talk about the volunteer experience that we have with both young volunteers and others. But I first want to really say that for those of you that don't know Hope, Hope is really most known as a emergency food provider in New Rochelle. It's not the only thing that we do. We do have housing programs, and we do sprinkle different programs throughout the year, but we're really mostly known for the emergency food programs that we do, whether it's the soup kitchen or whether it's the pantry. We've been really invested in making sure that our community's fed, and one of the ways that we can do that is by rescuing food. So when we have food from different organizations or different stores that come to us, again, that has a huge impact on our community, because we're not really, it's not just that we're giving them food, it's that we are producing an opportunity for them to not have food insecurity. And we're also, that food translates into money for them. So that's money that they can spend on other things, and it's one thing that they don't have to worry about. Hope has, over the last couple of months, really kind of changed some of the programs that we've done here. We've really added some programs. In response to the COVID-19 crisis, we've added the mobile pantry, like I mentioned before, but we've also added a senior delivery program. Again, these were all kind of initiatives and programs that were really in response to the need that we saw at the time. And we've really been doing those ever since. So just to give some perspective and scale, prior to the COVID-19 crisis, we were serving about almost 700 households a month. Now we are serving 7,000 households a month. We have done each month since the COVID crisis what we would do in a year. So, of course, our volume has gone way up. And the only reason we've been able to respond in the way we have is really two reasons. One, we've been fortunate to have the National Guard here with us, but more so it's that we've had volunteers come through here. One of the first things we had to do when the COVID crisis hit was we had to reevaluate our volunteer situation and take a look at who could still be there, who still felt safe there, and then we had to make an assessment and say, if you are a senior volunteer, then we would ask for your own safety, that you don't come until we can feel safer with you being here. And that was a hard thing for us to do, because really most of our volunteers were senior volunteers. But especially at the time when COVID was new, we were very concerned about that, and we didn't want to have anyone feel like they had to be here. Safety of our volunteers and our staff was very important. So we gave everyone the opportunity to say, we understand that we need you now and we need volunteers now, but your safety is important. And a lot of the older volunteers that we've had for quite a long time decided that their safety is important, and it was the right decision for them to stop coming at that time. And what that meant for us was we had to kind of quickly put together a new volunteer crew and a new volunteer squad. And one of the things that I was really pleased to see was the response that we got from younger people and the community and high school kids and college kids that were not in school at the time. And instead of kind of just staying home and being kind of listless and wondering what they should do, a lot of them came to us and asked, what can we do for you? And in that moment, we were able to put a lot of these programs together because we had the support. Our output went up 1,300% since COVID, which meant that, of course, we had to become a different agency. It meant that we actually had to have different systems of operations. We had to have more hours put in for our volunteers. We had to demand more of our volunteers. And again, we were only able to do that because we had such a great response, especially from young people. And one of the people that I think has really exemplified that is Delvy Abreu. Now, Delvy came to us about a year ago as a volunteer. He kind of just came in kind of about the same time I started at Hope. He was kind of just helping around wherever he could, but we kind of quickly saw that he was actually wanting a greater role. And he was capable of having a greater role. And as the months went by, we saw that he could take on more, and he did take on more. And very fortunate for us was that at the time that COVID hit, Delvy had been with us for some months and had really learned the inside and out of Hope to the point where he was really, he had the skill set of an employee, and I'd say more so than some others. He was and is very trustworthy. But what that meant for us at Hope was it meant that we could allow ourselves to change our operations to respond to the COVID-19 crisis. Because I had Delvy there, because I had someone that was able to be there when I needed, someone that was there every day, someone that knew the organization inside and out, that allowed us to be able to explore some of these new programs that we had to put together really quickly. And again, we had the foundation with Delvy there so that I knew if these programs didn't work or if I needed to invest a little more time in them than I thought, that I knew I could have Delvy to kind of hold down the day-to-day operations in a way that I think is really far above and beyond a way that most volunteers could. I think when you ask for a volunteer, you are very lucky to get really anything from a volunteer. You're really fortunate to get 10 hours a week, some are 20, but to get really someone that's there every day for just about 8 hours a day and that's committed to the organization, that's special. And I think you can't really ask for that. I think you catch fire, you catch magic when you do, and when you do, you enjoy it. And that's what we did with Delvy. So I say all this because we have Delvy here with us on this call. So I kind of want to clear the way for Delvy. If you want to say a few things about your experience.
Yeah, sure. So I'm being going to Hope, helping people. So that's my pleasure. So my mom told me go Hope, helping over there. Let's go for help. And I went to Hope. I do the thing. So I don't like to say I don't know how to do this stuff. And one of my friends over there, Benito, he helped me to tell me, oh, you need to do this and this. So I do it, helping to make delivery, giving food outside for the people. That's good. So I don't know if the student like to helping people see me. So I'm telling him, go to Hope, helping the people. You go Hope. If you want the number for Benito or what, you tell him to Karen. she called me and I give it the number for Benito. For giving call him and say, oh, I need helping people. So make bag or something else. So when I went to Hope, I started in pantry. I made bag and something else like that. So next time I change to the office, I help Benito to make the paper in order. And I take the place and be in the office in the pantry or make delivery. So it's my pleasure to know wow Benito and another people in Hope because they go person. So it's my pleasure. I don't have more words to tell.
That sounds good. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Walt,
Violence reduction or gang intervention?
You put that down here, we just took it out.
But we took it
No,
out.
no,
So we have
I
to
just
put it
wanted
up.
to just give a little bit of background about Hope and our experience and really give Delvy an opportunity to talk about what he's done.
I think Peter McCartt, did you want to make a quick mention or something? Or
I did. I was kind of remiss. I made a little bit of an
So
error in
criminal
the fact
justice
that I
reform,
did not mention.
criminal justice reform,
I did not mention
criminal
Sue
justice.
Weissman, who is our food security. What is her title? Food security coordinator. I mentioned it, but I didn't mention Sue Weissman, who's really doing it. We have these the grants to the food pantries and soup kitchens that I did mention, but I didn't mention her. That's all. Thank you, Sue.
And
All you.
Thank you, Peter. The work is more important than me, that's for sure. But thank you. But I put my email in the chat. So if anyone has any updated information for me on pantries or soup kitchens that are opening, closing, changing hours, please let me know. Thanks, Peter.
Paul, I think Karen was going to say something briefly about Hope Community Services as well, right?
Sounds good. Yep. I also copy and pasted your message, Susan, again too, in the chat.
Okay.
So, Karen, I think you wanted to say anything.
Yeah, just quickly, I'm Karen Kaur, volunteer with County Harvest, but I've also been volunteering at Hope. I'm Alex Tan's mom. I've had the great opportunity to volunteer with County Harvest. It has an amazing system for volunteers. So easy to just, log in and, do the food rescue when it's convenient for you. They've got a great technology system there, dashboard for volunteers to sign up as and when it makes sense. But I've also had the opportunity to then bring the rescue food with my son Alex to Hope Community Services. And I just wanted to say that whenever I was there, I would always see Delvy. And I could see that he was just such a critical part of the whole operation. And I was just always so impressed. I saw him and I overheard people talking about him. And, I had a chance to speak to Walt about him. And I could see that he was just such an integral part of the whole operation and service. And so, just a shout out to Delvy.
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. So I guess at this moment of the program, we're going to go into the Q&A section. So I guess if you have any questions, we're going to be using the raise hand feature, and or you can also place your question into the chat. We probably would prefer that you write a question into the chat and then we'll call upon you so that we could at least have a little bit of a preparation for the question or topic of discussion. Oh, I guess Mayor Sean Patterson Howard. Yeah, the floor is all yours, Madam Mayor.
So I really just wanted to congratulate ASAP Scraps for being incredible young people who took initiative to meet a need in the community and to improve sustainability. Of course, for the County Harvest and for Hope Community Services, I worked very closely with Carol Traum for many years, so I'm familiar with Hope. thank you for the work that you do, because food rescue is very important. At the Y, we not only did the external food deliveries, we also had soup kitchen, or what we called family dining. And so through food rescue, we were able to really serve thousands of families and really reduce hunger. And so the work that you're doing is very important. Please know that your individual efforts, sometimes where they may not feel as large as you want them to be, that collectively we are really helping to balance the lifeblood of so many families throughout the county. So please continue to do the work that you're doing and continue to encourage others to come in and do the work, because it does make a difference in your community and throughout our county. And we are better together, and we can do so much more. If everyone does some, no one has to do all. That's the way I see it. Thank you.
Very good, well said. So does anyone else have any questions or anything for anything for any of our presenters? All right, yep, Aristo.
Paul?
Yep, I think we have someone named Aristo that wants to speak. Yep, you can talk, Aristo.
I think he has to unmute. I think he's still muted.
Yeah,
There we go.
sorry, it's me, Jasmine.
Yep, I sent a ask to unmute request to him or her.
Okay.
Yes, hello, my name is Jasmine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to know, like for volunteering for like a food pantry, is there like local communities, like any place in Westchester where you could like find out? I joined late in the conversation.
I can answer that. You want? Can I answer
Yeah,
that?
of
So
course, yeah.
if you call Feeding Westchester, if you contact Feeding Westchester, they have probably the most comprehensive list of food pantries and soup kitchens in Westchester County, and it's also broken out by community. So you could just let them know the community that you live in, and they can direct you to a food pantry or a soup kitchen within your community, and you can get your classmates and club members to join you in the efforts to make a difference in your community. So congratulations to you for even having that desire.
Thanks.
Great.
Yes, so I definitely want to say thank you for setting this up. I learned a lot from this, and also what are the food scraps are gonna go to based on what this with the project with this organization with Owen at ASAP. And hey, I definitely want to mention this to my Ashley Bruno for Environmental Club. I'm thinking of getting them to probably do something like this.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, we'd really appreciate your help.
Yep. Yep, definitely. I will.
Can I take a stab at where the food scraps are going, and I can actually add to what, and I would like to also talk to ASAP about this. Currently, you are taking it to your village, right? You're taking it to the village DPW.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, going forward, you can take that. Any municipality that is picking up, such as Scarsdale and parts of Larchmont, I believe, if they are picking, no, it's Rye, are picking up, they can take it directly to the carter that won the bid for us. So, and that doesn't cost anything. Currently, it would cost just the normal tipping, which is about $28 a ton. If you take it to the municipality, and then the carter, the hauler, has to go and pick it up. So you guys could actually save your municipality a bunch of money by taking those toters that you have and going and dumping it right at Suburban Carting, who's the carting company that won the bid. We could talk about that if you want, guys.
Yeah, sure. If you want to email us after, or I mean, we would need to figure out where the location of that is relative to our.
You'd have to work with that through your DPW, department. They would probably want to know that you were taking it to there or whatever.
Yeah.
Work through that way, and then I'll let who was asking the question. I believe it was William. It will be aggregated, and then it'll be taken in the short term up to Ulster County, and it is windrow composted up there.
Yep, certainly, because the town of Newcastle is covered by suburban catering. So those are my areas. Hopefully, if I want to try to go into, if I join ASAP, try town of Greenberg, town of Newcastle and stuff.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. So we have a question from Mark Kramer, one of our attendees, and he has a question for the presenters, and he wants to know what is the greatest need for each of your organizations besides money?
Money. I not to joke around about it, and I know you're going to talk about this beside that, but it truly is money. It really comes down to it. I believe it was Missy who talked about how she went from one place to another place to another place. They get the food. It's the resources then to fill the gaps of what they don't get as a donation, and then also staffing and all that. It truly is kind of money, but I'll let Missy and everybody else answer this question.
Money's always good, but we really do need the volunteers since we don't have a staff of any kind. Our expenses are pretty low, but it's really the volunteers that do all of the food rescue runs. We need people to do the pickups and the deliveries every day. So without our volunteers, we would really be nothing.
Yeah, the same applies for ASAP because Jonathan, Sonia, and I are all seniors who just graduated. We're going to be moving to college in the fall, and we need people to take over pickups and also running ASAP. So again, if you are interested in volunteering, we would really like to have you on our team, and we encourage you to reach out.
All right, that sounds good. Does anyone else want to answer that question, or does anyone have a question at all? All right, it's a pretty shy group we have here.
This is all moving very rapidly, right? Peter and Paul, this development of food, pulling it out of the waste stream and getting it to people who can eat it, or else getting it back into the soil to benefit our food. So all of you can go to your municipality if they're not yet collecting food scraps or not yet rescuing food for hungry people. And you can go to your village council, your city council, and tell them that this needs to be done on a municipal level, by village, city by city. That's where it needs to start. And that's what each of us can do in our own communities. We will be posting, not posting, but emailing all of the registrants or anybody who sends Paul their email. We will be emailing you the contact list and the organizational websites for all the presenters on this program today. And then we can, you can start your own dialogue with them or get involved with them and connect.
Okay, I guess we actually have Peekskill City Councilwoman Vanessa Agudelo. I don't know if you want to take a moment, Vanessa, to say any words. And we also have a couple of hands raised.
Sorry, hi, I just jumped on this call because I think it's a great initiative, and this is actually something myself and our Conservation Advisory Council is currently looking into. We do not have a food scrap program currently, and we were actually looking for ways in which we could add it to our Saturday drop-off. But that does require resources, and with the pandemic, we're quite a bit in a hole. But one of the things we are thinking of doing is hosting a drop-off at our farmers market on Saturday. The only difficulty, the model that we were hoping to utilize is connecting farmers automatically for us to have transport and then that'll take it. But I'd love to speak to perhaps maybe the students or anyone who I think the biggest need right now is really having either a farm or a facility that will take the food scraps, because I do think that we have volunteers that would be willing to take that initiative on, at least at the very least, starting with our farmers market as a baseline, and perhaps doing something like a pickup, at least with the restaurants downtown. So I'd love to speak to some of the speakers who presented earlier more about that, because I think that if we can get over that one hurdle, we can get this started rather quickly. But yeah, so I feel like I learned a lot, and thank you so much for having me on. I'm sorry that I can't. I'm actually driving now, hands free, but I'm sorry I couldn't be on video.
No problem. What we'll do is share the emails contacts for some of the presenters with you, and then we'll make sure that you're definitely in contact with someone, with everyone.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. I guess next we'll go back to Mayor Sean Patterson Howard.
Oh, I just wanted to say that it would be great sometimes to even do a partnership between the mobile food pantry and organizations like ASAP Scraps, because oftentimes when you do food rescue and the mobile pantry, there are some foods that have to be disposed of because they may not meet the level of being distributed to the community. And that would be a great opportunity if you're having several mobile pantries in your community, just to make sure that you might have someone there, so the foods that cannot be distributed then can be collected for the composting. So that is another opportunity to make sure that we're able to do something with that food. Trust me, after years of doing mobile pantries, some of the foods are food rescue, and others have just been damaged in storage and delivery and transport, and have to be disposed of. So that's another opportunity, not just going to the individual homes, but kind of partnering with mobile food pantry distribution programs.
Yeah, that sounds like an exciting opportunity. Yeah, I guess, I don't know, that we'll probably set up an email thread and we'll definitely get the ball rolling. Yeah, because these aren't isolated problems. These are happening all throughout the county. So it'll take a good collective effort. Cyril Peter Singh, do you want to, I think I see your hand raised.
Yeah, am I unmuted?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, great. Thanks, Guy. This is another exciting environmental webinar. Really awesome. ASAP Scraps, that the younger generation are moving up. I want to commend them for that. I think the opportunities that we have in Westchester County is awesome, because we have such a great concerned group with the leaders, FCWC, Paul, us as students advocate, the other Westchester County students like Ashley Bruner. We're really concerned and we really care, and this gives us the opportunity to do a networking together, because food scraps is very important. Having done a lot of environmental studies, we have so much industrial pollution from industrial agriculture, food that's not healthy. The whole education and putting things together with community gardening, using these food scraps year around, even the community gardening, what we can do right now. I'm really sad that COVID-19 came in. Last year, I did a community garden at Westchester Community College, and I was able to donate food to Feed in Westchester to the school pantry. And that was very, I felt really great about doing that, to know that we can do that. And we have areas like, Mount Vernon, Yonkers, where it's so densely populated, all these lots that are there that are not used, that we could use community engagement, let everybody get out, work together, use these food scraps, the organic waste together. And it's really wonderful. It's good for the environment. And I think we should really move ahead with it, let it grow, and the community will engage. There's so much of us that are really conscious about what's going on. We just need the leadership and we need the guidance. And I think it's great what everyone is doing. And, you know, I wish you the best with it. Let's keep it going. It's our holistic season. We need to purge sometimes of the year. If we even get 3 months out of the year to grow a garden, to eat organic food, that is so important to your system. The foods that we're eating have no nutritional value, guys. And that's what I want to leave with. This is a great process. And I wish you all the best with it. And I'll work with you however I can. Thank you so much for this forum, Paul, FCWC, and everyone else.
Thank you, Peter. Our next, I guess we have Judy. Judy Zinger would like to, I guess, see your hand is raised.
Yeah, there's just there's another little connection that needs to be made, maybe more than it is. A lot of households don't want to compost their food scraps, and so the garbage trucks are still full of picking up. And I don't know, I want to reach out to my neighbors and say, you know, the service is available in Greenberg. You have to buy the bin and the compostable bags and bring it to Anthony Veteran. And I'm just a little leery of talking to people now with COVID, you know, connecting, and I need a good talking point so that I don't sound critical. So that's what I wanted to say.
Do you know, does anyone know how we could streamline the environmental education on the importance of composting, or?
For us, the best way, because there were definitely a lot of people that were reluctant to begin composting, but the best way to encourage it is just make it more accessible to them. For example, instead of, for my neighbors, they didn't want to spend $20 on paying for a compost bin. So I said, you can use a Home Depot bucket if that works better for you and you don't want to waste $20 on the bin. So just like find other ways and ease any concerns that they may have. For example, if they say like, oh, it might smell bad, say, I leave mine in the garage and I actually don't have any odor issues. And if there is, I bring it in early. Just kind of have a conversation with them. And like, for example, like this right here, this conversation is also helping because it makes people more aware of composting and just helping the community in general. So I think just encouraging it and then also easing any concerns that they may have.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I'm encouraged.
Also, Paul, I'd like to say, Mr. McCartt, and I know you're very enthusiastic about everything that we do. I live in the town of Greenberg, and we have several different bins that we use there. Maybe we could possibly have a recycling bin that can come into play into this. Maybe some incentives to homeowners to do it, a tax break, some sort of incentive, encouragement, whether they're not there, or they even put in out of their pocket into it to just help the environment. Because having an extra bin, we already have 4 bins. And I think we're like the most awesome area in Westchester County as far as recycling and garbage is concerned. You know, and I want to big up Paul Final for that also. So maybe we can do something like that.
I'm not 100% sure what you're asking for. You want the
maybe
county.
A composting bin. Maybe a composting bin. The county could maybe start a pilot project. We have these great students that did their ASAP food scraps in their area. Maybe incentivize that and start it as a pilot project and see how that takes off. And encourage, you know, education is always the most important part. And we in Westchester County, I believe we're some of the most intelligent people in the world, seriously. And I don't say that because I'm from Westchester. I just know the minds of how we think. And if we have these opportunities, I think we would move forward with that. It can happen. Just a bin, just a recycling bin for composting to support like an ASAP scrap method, just to try it. And you know what, even seasonally to get compost and stuff, it's hard. We don't know where to go. Suppose we had an area where we had all these compost from the winter stored up. And then when gardening started in the spring, we had access to it. We could maybe sell it back, because you said money is important. Pay a nominal fee or something where we can give it back to the community where we had it available.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're getting there.
And Paul, if I might, and Peter is getting there, and the county is, and I think an evolution of this meeting. I think as FCWC, I think perhaps maybe the next meeting we have is to join up all the mayors and the municipal leaders and the county together to talk about having, different programs in different areas, but even more importantly, get the educators involved in how do we continue what ASAP has done and Scarsdale has in the schools and make it part of the curriculum on how important these issues are, as well as start to promote, as ASAP has done, but start with kids in 9th grade or 10th or 11th grade, so as people start to graduate in our schools, there's other people there to take their place and to continue their efforts, whether it's on food scraps or any other environmental efforts that can start with the students in the schools.
Well, I mean, when it comes to the bins themselves, I'll get back to that specifically. I agree, Steve. You're right on the number. There's a lot of organizations. There's a lot of groups that are swirling around on this. The Scarsdale model is one of the that's what I've been calling it that. Ron and Michelle have started up, and 20 municipalities have picked that up, and that's kind of been a great program because the cost is on the person that wants to be involved. They throw in $20, they get a bin, they get the package, they get the education, and they start it up, and it's fantastic. There's no stress on the municipality. It's actually quicker to do because it's each individual person. They don't have to go through the process of voting on it, debating on it, and having it shut down. It's been very successful, and I think at some point, hopefully in my lifetime, that this will be mandated, that there will be laws put in place that mandate it, just like we recycle now. We source separate here in Westchester County. We do a great job. Source separating is the key. Recycling right is more important than recycling more, because we all recycle a lot. We just have to do it the right way. This going down the road, I think, where we're getting to, eventually it'll be mandated by everybody that you need to do this. But right now it's a volunteer basis. I don't think it would get through if we tried to pass a law to enforce this upon people. And then because of that, we can't just, well, I'll leave it at that.
All right, I think Judy, do you have anything you wanted to add, or?
I just wanted to thank Peter McCartt for all the great work you're doing with citing a permanent recycling in Westchester, composting in Westchester. I know the mayor of White Plains would be happy to participate, but he does not want to put food scraps in a truck that goes up to Ulster County.
I know. I'm good friends with Mayor Roach, and he was waiting on the county to come up with the programs that we did come up with. He sees the economics and the environmental impact a little bit better now because we are going to be aggregated. There's not going to be multiple trips going up to Ulster. It's going to be just one trip. We are actually purchasing the large truck that will be sealed that will be able to contain this, and we can take it up there in one fell swoop. That's where we are. We're really not collecting that much, people. It's not that much at this point. And hopefully we can motivate people to start collecting more.
And could you please?
As Ann and I have been doing for a long time through Greenberg Nature Center and our other organizations, compost at home. Let's compost at home, and and buy right, purchase right. Don't purchase just all food in the world. Purchase what you're going to use. Purchase correctly. So.
Could you please explain a little again what the stage 2 that you were talking about at the HMRF is it going to be a demo, a composting demo, or I'm not quite
it
clear on?
could be a live composting facility. Where we get the food scraps from, that's not going to be an issue. We don't know where. We're thinking it might be collected by the farmers markets. But it could be one of the local municipalities. That's got to be worked out, but we don't see a problem. We could get it from the college, which is right across the street, or we could get it from the prison. Although the prison doesn't have very many food scraps. The guys eat everything, and they reconstitute it into a different meal. They don't eat the green beans. They're going to wind up in the stew. There's not an issue of getting the food scraps, but it's going to be a larger scale. Like I said, it's going to be a municipal size composting facility. So, you know, not a backyard, not a smaller facility, but a larger facility.
Is it a machine or a windrow?
It's windrow, but it's based on bays. So the bays, you know, you move the stuff. You've got to age it. It's got to be cycled through. It's a whole process. We actually got there's a lot of municipalities around the country that have done this, and the people in our Department of Environmental Facilities have gone to look at these facilities. There's one way up near Rochester that's really a model. There's also a couple in New York City that are model, but we're looking actually a little bit bigger than both of those.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sounds good. Yeah, and actually, I mentioned to Ann in the past about us probably seeing if we could help facilitate municipalities, you know, opting into composting, you know, probably drafting up like template resolutions for city councils or village boards of trustees, and also general reports so they can kind of look at the economic benefits, ecologic benefits. I think there's some economic benefits as well too. But, you know, just really making sure that it's the right form of environmental stewardship proceeding forward. Yes, does anyone else have any questions, or let me double check the chat. Does anyone else have anything to add, or? I guess we could wrap up.
I guess we can, Paul. This is a fantastic meeting. What an excellent discussion, and thank you all for sharing and joining. And Paul and I will send out the Jonathan's going to send us the recording, and Paul and I will send the recording and the contact list out to everybody who's registered, or if you've given Paul your email. Yep. So thank you to our presenters. And
well
thank
done,
you,
guys.
Paul. Well done, Paul, managing Big Mute. Yep. Excellent.
Well done, all.
Excellent job.
Thank you.
Definitely will be sharing this out with my environmental club at WCC.
Yeah, William, are you still in contact with I think Ashley left and Ruby's the new club president there? Is that true, or?
Oh yeah, Ruby's there. Yeah.
No, I actually know who's going to be president. It's Chelsea.
Hey, I recognize this has been from Westchester. Yes.
Chelsea's gonna be president.
So who's gonna? All right. So I have both of you. I have your email. I think you're on the student network. I guess I'll
have a good one.
William, can you put your email in the chat as well too? Oh, and don't close the meeting yet, because I still wanted to.
Okay. We're open. We're still open, Paul. Don't worry.
Good, because I wanted to go into the chat and make sure I get everyone's email contact, especially from the
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. For Chloe.
Yes. And thank you so much, everybody. Paul, we do have the emails from people who registered too, and William did register.
Also, like Chloe Fernandez, was she registered, or Marissa?
She did, but I took down her email, Chloe Fernandez.
Oh, you took everyone's email.
Yeah.
I was gonna scroll up.
Good. Go ahead. Scroll up and copy it. That's not a bad idea. You know me.
Okay.
Good idea. And awesome, you guys. This was great. So Karen, thanks again. Really super. And I guess Delvy had to get off finally. He's busy enough. Everybody's busy. Oh, and Monica copied the chat as well. Good, good. Thank you, Monica.
Okay.
And good.
Yeah, I got a little bit nervous making sure with with the timing for Hope, because you know we started 5 minutes behind schedule.
We did, yeah, but you know what? You handled it beautifully, and I think people were willing to stay on a little bit longer because it was so good. It was
Yes.
a good program, and they were definitely finished. The whole presentation was completely finished before 5, so
Yeah.
not a problem. And you guys absolutely were amazing. ASAP Scraps, Hope Community Center, and County Harvest. Just all of you were amazing. And you shared an awful lot of important information for people, so thank you.
Yeah, you guys did a great job. Very proud of you.
Yeah, I hope you get some volunteers out of it, but certainly you're well known in a lot of places throughout the county now. So,
Yep. Do you have the email for the Peekskill City Councilwoman? Because I think she said that she had some people that
yes, Vanessa Agudelo. Monica has her email, right, Monica? Yeah, Monica knows Vanessa. So
okay,
we have her email.
Awesome.
Okay. Yep. Good question. Want to get it. And Jason Natal, a middle schooler, he's on here now. He wants to volunteer actively. So we're going to be talking about what middle schoolers can do. We need to, help make connections for middle schoolers as well. I think all of these organizations will do middle schoolers, right, Karen? Karen Core, you know that. Do they take middle schoolers for some jobs?
I'm not sure for Hope, but I think, possibly with Hope, like with the parent, that might be possible.
Mm-hmm.
County Harvest, I mean, you'd have to be able to able to carry things, boxes and things like that. And of course, again, with the parent, that would be.
ASAP, yeah.
And
maybe
definitely
first with the parent for a while, yeah. And then, that's the thing is, though, you'd be like Delvy, you'd be well trained and understand everything by the time you hit high school, and boom, be able to really be at a management level.
So like at what age does the One World start? Does Joe Carvin know? Like what age?
Is Joe on? Yeah, Joe's still on. Joe, if you want to answer Paul's question, that's a good question, Paul. Joe?
Because that's when I guess people are starting to get people are starting to get exposed to the information of what's happening environmentally throughout the world. So I guess that'll be a good time where you.
Sorry, was there a question for me, Ann?
Yeah, Paul has a great question.
Joe, at what age does the One World start? I guess their student engagement, because I guess if they're starting to get exposed to this information of what's occurring in the world, then that'll be a good time that they can utilize local initiatives.
I apologize. So yes, One World, we start as early as 3rd grade. So we go from 3rd to 12th grade. We're in Portchester schools, and we'd love to take it to other schools across the county. In fact, I've been very impressed. I've already been in touch with ASAPs to talk about, see if we can bring their program to Portchester online. And then also, I was really impressed with County Harvest. It's the first time I've heard about food rescue, so I want to thank them for that. And as you know, we do service learning projects in all our clubs. So a lot of them are sustainability related. So yeah, we start in the 3rd grade and it goes right through to 12th grade.
Great.
Yeah. And we can coordinate afterwards, Ann and Paul, and talk about how to try and take it. I mean, what the kids are doing at Rhinebeck is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And so it'd be good to coordinate and see how we can come together. In fact, this Thursday, I can, if you want to send it out. So if you remember, one of the things we've done in Portchester is we've done 2 things in Portchester. One is if you remember, we work with the United Nations, the UN FCCC, to help our schools become climate neutral now. And there's a process for that. And I'm going to be talking about that Thursday in a conference, actually a virtual conference that'll be hosted in Wales in Great Britain, but will be available here from 8:50 Thursday morning. So Ann and Paul, I'll send you the details for that talk. And if anybody wants to join us, they can. And the gentleman I work with at the United Nations, I know, Peter, we've talked about even having you talk to him. He's going to be on the call with me. So we'll be jointly presenting. So I'd love to get that program going here. In fact, maybe the last thing I could mention is, before pre-COVID, we were launching what we call 100 school challenges in Wales, China, Mexico, and the idea was to do it in Westchester County, where we'd encourage 100 schools to become carbon neutral now. Again, that's a first step, not a last step, but it's a first step. Why wait till 2050 if we can become carbon neutral today?
Wow. Joe, that's great. Send it to Paul,
Yep.
the notice to Paul, and also to Monica. I think you have Monica's email as well, because she's on everything I'm on, because she manages our communications and social media. Can she post it on our Facebook and everything?
Absolutely. It's wide as available. Yep, that'd be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Great. Great.
Thank you.
Monica's real good at this, and we got a good following.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. This is good. So Jason, One World is a program that maybe getting that into your school would open up a whole universe of possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll send you the connection to One World just so that you can, see whether your school might be interested. Joe, would that be a good idea?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I can give you my email address, which is the easiest, and it's a very easy email. It's just my name, Joe Carvin, JoeCarvin @gmail.com.
Okay, so Jason, go ahead and contact Joe directly to get information about the One World program and see what you think about presenting it to your school. It's an awesome program, but it's connected to the UN and the global community, so it's very exciting.
Can you just tell me his email one more time?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's JoeCarv as in Victor, IN @gmail.com.
All right, can you say that one more time?
Yep,
'Cause I was
sure.
still pulling up.
I apologize. I'll do it airline style. JOE. Sorry, that's my note. I apologize. JOE for Joe, and then C as in Charlie. A as in. Sorry.
I didn't mute your phone.
JOE, C as in Charlie, A as in America, R as in Robert. There we go, finally. C as in Charlie, A as in America, R as in Robert, V as in Victor, I as in India, N as in Nancy @gmail.com.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jason. And thank you so much, Ann and Paul. Thanks for organizing. I really enjoyed tonight. I learned a lot.
Glad you're on, Joe. Glad you're on. Excellent, everybody. Well, and thank you again, Jonathan, to ASAP Scraps. Amazing. And all of our other presenters are gone. Karen, of course, Karen, for really helping us make this program what it became. It really became a great program. Thank you. And thanks to Alex.
Thank you.
And to wonderful County Harvest and Hope Community and ASAPs. You connected us with all of them. So thank you.
Thanks
Okay,
so much.
everybody.
Wonderful
Take care,
organizing.
stay in touch,
Bye-bye.
and let us know if anything that you do, again, so that we can post it on our Facebook. And Paul can send it out through the student network, because we have pretty good reach. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So John, I guess sign you guys all up to student networks. So you could be on our mailing list, and we could maintain connections even if you're going away to school. And I guess anyone that we identify that's a student, like I guess in the areas of Mamaroneck and that are interested, we could just forward their contact information to you.
Be perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely something we want to take advantage of.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
John,
Okay,
you're
great.
Yeah,
John,
because
you're
we.
doing environmental engineering?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. And it's a very lucrative field, and I feel you're going to do well. And at some point, Paul, we need to find some scholarship for these environmental youths. I think some of them deserve it. You guys did great work, man. I commend you so much.
Thank you.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah, you guys did it, and you had the technology with it. You traced everything. It's awesome. The future is yours. Environmental engineering is one of the biggest fields you could go into. I'm doing renewable energy engineering right now, but I did a lot of studies with that too. But you're on the right track. You're one of the heroes for planet Earth. So thank you
There
for
you
your
go.
work. Thank you for what you do. Awesome.
All right, everybody. This is too cool. And you started a company that modeled to the adult world. Hey, get off the stick. Look what you can do. It's like, come on. Good for you. Good for you. What a vision.
And Jonathan, you'll get the 501c3. I have one. It takes time. Just find a specific definition for the type of nonprofit that you want and just keep pursuing it. Because of COVID, it's kind of slow, but you'll eventually.
Yeah.
Government is very eco-friendly with that. Not
we
the
got
president, the government.
We got to fill out the 1023 EZ, so hopefully it should be a little faster. We'll see how long it takes.
Excellent.
Great, man. Bless. Godspeed.
Okay, so Paul,
Thank you.
let me know. We can actually your co-host. You can also end the meeting when you're ready.
Yeah, I guess if that's about it. I guess that's about it. Jasmine, I sent you a message trying to get your personal email. I don't know. I didn't quite hear you when you were saying the next leadership for the environmental club at your school.
Oh yeah. You need my email?
Yes. If you could just put it in the chat so I could copy. I have a little Word doc. I'm getting everyone's emails.
Yeah.
Just to make sure, because I think we'd like to make sure that we have just good connections with the environmental club there. I invited some professors like Professor Sheldon Mallett, Robert Applebaum from Westchester Community College. Oh, got it, Jazz. All right. All right, sounds good. I guess that's it for me.
Okay.
All right, guys. Very good. Take care. Great meeting.
Take care, everybody. Be well.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care.
Thanks.
Anne,
Yeah.
Anne, how's the recording gonna work out? Am I able to download it right now, or are you gonna send it through cloud?
What do you? I'm a techno idiot, so the only thing I knew is that let's see, what were we gonna do? We were gonna.
Sure, I'm gonna
I
stop
see.
the
No, wait,
recording.
I've got it. I have to wait. Okay, here's how it goes, Jonathan. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It always takes me a minute. Poor Monica has to live with me. Zoom will send me a link probably tomorrow. It
Okay.
usually doesn't come immediately, but they'll send me a link and I'll send the link to you right away. The link is good for a certain amount of time and then they'll cut it off if I don't pay for enough storage. So that was my problem that you were going to help work
Yeah.
about by putting it on MP3.
Yeah, I'll try, because when I did this, I recorded it right into my hard drive, and I see a recording into a cloud, so I'll try to figure it out.
Oh, I see. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, I think
I couldn't do my hard drive. It's too small. So, okay, I'm going to cut off the recording now. I just realized it's still going.